emphasizing early testing, treatment, and compassionate care to reach national goals and combat the epidemic, especially among our youth. Um, PIA serves as a national platform to share timely, accurate information about HIV/AIDS, including surveillance reports and campaigns. We also support major events like the World AIDS Day, International AIDS Candlelight Memorial with activities, themes, and call to action. Overall, Madam Chair, our 16 regional offices is active in information campaign and dissemination to prevent the spread of HIV among Filipino people, especially the youth, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much also, Mr. Ragua. And last but not the least, Department of Budget and Management. Yes, Attorney Tricia.
Good morning, Madam Chair, and to everyone here present. May we respectfully note that the funding for the purpose is funded under the DOH din po. So, any requirements should be requested by the agencies concerned in the GA and shall be subject to the usual budget preparation process. Thank you po, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any advice to DOH kung paano maka-fetch ng mas malalaking budget para sa HIV and AIDS response natin? For example, from now until year 2030, kalahating dekada na lang naman.
Madam Chair, we respectfully suggest po the DOH to explore po other alternative funding. For example po, yung coordination with other private sectors din po, or donations and grants, which coordinations and grants, the same shall be subject to the existing budget accounting and auditing rules and regulations po, Madam Chair. And also to LGUs po na kaya naman, so especially po na nag-increase na rin po yung NPA ng LGUs. Thank you po, Madam Chair.
Salamat, Attorney Tricia. At sa DBM, so nung binanggit nyo nga yung LGUs, naalala ko yung recommendations ng ibang resource persons about more innovative community-based actions, and then yung sa coordination with private sector. So I don't know, maybe more public-private partnerships on our national HIV and AIDS response. But mas tignan po siguro natin yun sa TWG din. Okay, so at this point, and we're still awaiting possibly Senator Raffy to join us, we'd like to thank PNAC, DOH, UNAIDS, Achieve, Pinoy Plus Foundation, all our resource persons for sharing insights on our country's HIV and AIDS response. I stand with you, the committee stands with you in advancing a humane, rights-based, and compassionate approach to HIV and AIDS. As Chair of the Senate Committee on Health, I urge all agencies concerned, let's step up HIV services, testing and treatment to hit the 95-95-95 targets. Expand PhilHealth benefits so prevention, testing, and care are fully covered and accessible gaya ng tinatahak nila ngayon. Strengthen policies by supporting community-based organization. So yung social contracting, yung community-based monitoring na binanggit, and how to bring in the institutional stakeholders, including schools, workplaces, sa ganitong mga actions. Giving children access to treatment, ito yata yung priority natin sa pag-amend ng IRRs. And tingnan din namin, from the Senate, tingnan din namin yung dalawang bill sa House, so paano po kami pwede mag-counterpart sa isa't isa. And of course, ensuring government funding reaches the front lines. So the committee secretary is requested to convene a technical working group to identify and prioritize HIV and AIDS legislative agenda for the committee's consideration, and to draft possible amendments to RA 11166 intended to improve the children and youth's access to HIV, AIDS, and testing, treatment, and related health services. Oh, I missed something. One of our later resource persons mentioned a certain age, and I was wondering kung pwedeng i-consider ibaba yun to 15, no? Na ito yung lower range ng sinasite na increased incidence among young people. Okay, so with many thanks to the resource persons who've spoken so far sa ating unang agenda pa lang ngayong araw, this hearing on the Philippine HIV and AIDS response is now adjourned. So, pagkatapos ng paghinga, tapos naman po tayo sa National Program on the Elimination of Tuberculosis. So, please feel free to, if you need to go to the bathroom or drink water, we will be serving lunch. Konting pasensya pa po, 45 minutes more until we have some food. So, the World Health Organization's 2024 Global Tuberculosis Report shows that 1.25 million persons died from TB and 10.8 million were infected. The risk of TB rises with diabetes, weakened immunity, malnutrition, tobacco use, and the harmful alcohol consumption. Alarmingly, cases of multi-drug resistant TB are increasing, and 2 out of 5 patients with MDR-TB lack access to treatment. Sa kasamaang palad, kabilang ang Pilipinas sa top 5 high-burden countries, contributing 6.8% ng global TB cases. Pangarap natin ang isang TB-free generation, 0 deaths, 0 disease, 0 suffering. Achieving this requires integrated, patient-centered care, bold policies and strong systems, and intensified research and innovation. In support of this, dito sa Senado, kasama si Senator Jinggoy Estrada, nag-file po kami ng bill to amend Republic Act 10767, the Comprehensive TB Elimination Plan Act, para mas palakasin ang TB response ng bansa. Halos isang dekada na ang nakalipas mula nang i-implement ang RA 10767, pero nasa top 5 pa rin tayo sa high-burden TB countries. Kaya layo ng mga amyenda natin na palakasin ang diagnosis at treatment ng TB, i-promote ang collaborative at multi-sectoral approach, at ipatupad ang promotive at preventive measures para sa TB elimination. So I'd like to request the DOH and our other resource persons, including CSOs and patients groups representatives, to give a brief 3-minute assessment of the current TB situation, your view on the government response, and any proposed amendments to the Senate bill. So let's and we'll also, after that first round of resource persons, I'll also invite our other guests and resource persons with concerns or reservations to share your brief statements, recommendations, or proposed amendments also for the committee's consideration. So sige, unahin na po natin ang DOH. Sino pong magsasalita sa DOH? Dr. Charis Malvasias. Dr. Charis.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
So I will be presenting the program updates as of present. So next slide, please. So as mentioned, the recent WHO Global TB report ranked as 3rd globally in terms of the incident cases. Last year, we were 4th, and then we increased to 4th. Next slide, please. We are also part of the 30 high-burden countries, in not only in TB incidents, but also in MDRR TB incidents, and also the TB HIV co-infection. Next slide. And for MDRR TB alone, we are top 3 at 7.1% from the global incident cases. Next slide. If we look at our trend from 2023 to 2024, there was a slight decrease in TB incidence from 643 per 100,000 to 625 per 100,000, reflecting around 724,000 estimated cases of TB in the Philippines in 2024. Our incidence also decreased slightly for MDR-RTB and also for the mortality rate. However, if we look at the number of TB cases that we were able to report vis-a-vis our estimated incidence, they decreased to 75% from 78% last year. And one of the key indicators as well that we are aiming is to decrease the catastrophic cost faced by our households affected with TB. So our baseline is 42%, and we are still currently doing a study to map out the current catastrophic cost in our country. Next slide. This slide highlights the importance of integration in this top risk factors for TB. So these are the key clinical risk factors: alcoholism, smoking, undernutrition, diabetes, and HIV as major contributors of our TB burden. Next slide. These are the key indicators that we are looking at as a program. We need to screen, test, and treat our patients, and of course, prevent our household or close contacts of the TB patients. And from these key indicators, we can see that we are increasing in both our screening and testing, but this is not yet reflected in our achievement in terms of notification, as I mentioned, and also we also need to improve our case holding because our treatment success rate is still below 90%. And one key indicator that we need to strengthen is our provision of TB preventive treatment to the household contacts of our patients. Next. So this highlights the regional performance in terms of chest X-ray screening. The ones in the red box reflects those regions that achieve more than 100% of their target. Next slide. So testing, while we can see a major leap in improvement in terms of chest X-ray screening, testing is improving but not enough. Next slide, please. And we also need to, while we improved in our notifications, so if you look at the dip from during COVID in our notifications, 409 to 256, we have recovered in our case finding in 2023, but there was a slight decrease in 2024 from 575,000 to 544,000. Next slide. And the importance of testing is shown in this slide, wherein while we are improving our notifications, those that are really bacteriologically confirmed, meaning they tested positive through a molecular sputum test, is only around 55%, no, are just tested. So there's more clinically diagnosed patients. Next slide. And this one, if our MDR-RTB, we are still not finding a lot of our multi-drug resistant patients. We only found 27% of our estimated cases. Next. Next slide. For treatment success rate, we are improving. So our latest is around 84%, but what we need to strengthen is our case holding, since if you look at the yellow line, that's the people that are lost to follow up. So we have seen an increase, no, starting 2021 to 2023. Next slide. And these are the regions that were able to achieve the 90% treatment success rate. Next slide. For drug-resistant TB, as we move to an all-oral regimen, we have seen the effect of this regimen to the